Welcome to Fisticuffs review of the original Xbox One controller and the new modded Xbox controller. You're like, what's the difference, Fisticuffs, and how could this benefit me? So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the original Xbox One controller, and we're going to talk about how this design, comparative to what first-person shooters would like to have and what we got, is completely mind-blowing and baffling to me as where they even came up with this idea of this analog sticks. One of the major problems with this Xbox One controller comparative to why the SCUF and other controllers are so successful is the design of this controller. The first thing I want to point out, and the most important thing, is the analog sticks. If you look at the analog sticks, they're rigid. I think that's convex, which means they have indentation. I mean, I could have it. I think it could be concave. I don't know which word is the correct term to use, but you understand the point. It has a inside ridge, and I don't know if you can see it. It has a very rough exterior ridge, and the analog stick is smaller. So what happens here when you're using this first-person shooter? If you look at the natural contour of the thumb, is that what you want to have is a surface that never loses contact with the regular contour of your thumb. And what happens when you're playing in any direction, you'll notice when you start from one edge and go to the other, you're losing contact surface, and this will lead to bad aiming, missed shots, frustration, just endless amounts of headaches. And then what's really sad about this analog stick is the fact that most people play for long periods of times or go through marathons, is that when you're looking for that aiming edge, you're basically holding the edge of the controller like this and trying to stay out of the middle of this part to not lose your aim. And what happens is your thumb starts to develop a callus and it starts to hurt, and you don't want to use this controller. So it's a very terrible design, and I highly suggest, if you're anybody who's ever played on a first-person shooter or had a SCUF or had any type of mods, this is the worst design ever made by Xbox for an analog stick. Now, the other things I want to talk about are the trigger keys. Are pretty long and ambiguous and just not that very good a design. So I expect to see a lot more mods coming in the further months to eradicate some of this. This design is very poor for a first-person shooter. I don't understand what their thinking was. The analog sticks, out of 0 out of 10, are a complete bust. You have to mod these immediately if you have any sense in your brain, to understand that your thumb always needs to have contact with the surface. And when you lose surface contact, it's horrid. So what I did was, I asked around on Twitter. There were some people who linked me to this guy in Texas. Now, he will mod your controller for you, and he will do everything. He'll put the paddles on the bottom. Now, I don't need the paddles on the bottom, because everything is extra. You know, if you get these put on, you get the mod. You can get everything. You can get everything modded on this controller through this guy. The only things he won't do is the trigger stops, because that's patented by SCUF controllers. So you could pretty much have almost the same design you had in the Xbox original Xbox that you can have in the Xbox One. He will do those for you. Now, he got this out for me within a day and a half. So I suspect the first people who get to him, when I put the link in this video, I highly suggest you get to him, because he's going to be bombarded after this video, because there's nobody doing these mods. Also, I would like to point out that, you know, he does everything but the trigger stops. So you want to get over there and get it done. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. He will give you the kit to do it yourself. So if you don't want to wait and you don't want to buy a new controller and have him do the whole thing for you, then you could get the kit from him and you could do it yourself. Now, luckily for me, I don't need the paddles on the back, and I really don't mind the triggers because I can wait until next year for scuff for the trigger stops. That's not really a problem for me. But I definitely had to change these analog sticks. They're completely trash. So now if you look at the difference here, this is a huge difference. Not only is there more movement in this right here alone, but look at this. You have a domed analog stick with higher height, wider. Look how much wider that is. It covers a lot more surface, so that gives you more range in a 360 degree. Now, what's incredible about these sticks is, look how my thumb is. My thumb's regular contour to the analog stick never loses contact. No matter what I do, I never lose in a 360 degree turn, and I won't be sitting on the edge. If you look at this controller, you watch. Look at this. I'll always have to be hitting another edge, and that's where you're going to lose your aim and precision. But on this controller, look at this. You never, ever lose contour to your thumb. Because look, your thumb is shaped like the dome. So you have two surfaces that equal the same that never lose contact. And that is where the huge difference comes in when aiming with a first-person shooter. Xbox One should have realized this. When you're making when you have most of your games on your system that are first-person shooters, you should give your audience the option of purchasing controllers with dome sticks. This is important. This is for precision aiming. You know, you don't develop calluses, and the texture. If you look at the texture of this dome stick, it's grippy-ish. I mean, this stick basically replaces gel tabs, any type of grips, secondary grips that go over the top of the stick, and the height and the diameter. It's already implemented into the control, so you're not worried about the secondary device slipping within the top of the other device. This is all built in, and this is going to be so much better. So anyways, you guys can sit there and you can get like all the other stuff done on the controller. He'll go over the stuff that you need to go through. I'll leave his link below. This right here is what a first-person shooter should be. Now, I use the claw, so I don't need paddles. You know, if you don't know what the claw is, you can go look and search any of my videos and just type in CLAW. Myself, there's a couple other pros. I think Scumpy uses the claw. You don't need paddles when you use claw, so saves you tons of money. And all you need to do is mod the analog sticks, which, by the way, should have came that way with the Xbox One. I mean, here we're talking about a company that does all this research. I mean, you should look at the top 5 games on Xbox Live and realize, you know, everybody plays first-person shooters. I don't even know what the hell this is supposed to represent. I don't get it. Anyways, regular contour of your thumb matches the stick. Common logical sense here. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I'll leave the link in the description below. Hope you get over there first for him. All the other people, you know, I'm sorry you missed out. Until next time, peace.